Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015-2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute, Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our session, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are celebrating World Refugee Day, and this week is also commemorated as World Refugee. With the theme this year, World Refugee Day, on 20th June. The theme for the year 2023 is Hope Away from Home. World Refugee Day is an international day designated by the United Nations in honor of refugees around the globe. It falls each year on June 20 and celebrates the strength and courage of people who have been forced to flee their home country to escape conflict or persecution. World Refugee Day is an occasion to build empathy and understanding for their plight and to recognize their resilience in rebuilding their lives. So every minute, 20 people leave everything behind to escape war, persecution, or terror. There are several types of forcibly displaced persons. A refugee is someone who fled his or her home and country owing to a well-founded fear of persecution because of his or her race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. According to the United Nations 1951 Refugee Convention, many refugees are in exile to escape the effects of natural or human disasters. Asylum seekers say that they are refugees and have fled their homes as refugees too, but their claim to refugee status is not definitely evaluated in the country to which they fled. And internally displaced persons, in short known as IDPs, are people who have not crossed an international border but have moved to a different region than one they call home within their own country, maybe to a different state or a province. Stateless persons do not have a recognized nationality and do not belong to any country. Statelessness situations are usually caused by discrimination against certain groups, their lack of identification. A citizenship certificate can exclude them from access to important government services, including healthcare, education, or employment. Returnees are former refugees who return to their own countries or regions of origin after time in exile, returnees need continuous support and reintegration assistance to ensure that they can rebuild their lives at home. Refugees are among the most vulnerable people in the world. The 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1961 protocol help protect them. They are the only global legal instruments explicitly covering the most important aspects of a refugee's life. According to their provisions, refugees deserve, as a minimum, the same standards of treatment enjoyed by other foreign nationals in any given country, and in many cases, the same treatment as nationals. In 1951, Convention contains a number of rights and also highlights the obligation of refugees towards their host country. The cornerstone of the 1951 Convention is the principle of non-refoulement. According to this principle, a refugee should not be returned to a country where he or she faces serious threats to his or her life or freedom. This protection may not be claimed by refugees who are reasonably regarded as a danger to the security of the country or having been convicted of a particularly serious crime are considered a danger to the community. The rights contained in the 1951 conventions include the right not to be expelled except under certain strictly defined conditions, the right not to be punished for illegal entry into the territory of a contracting state, the right to work, the right to housing, the right to education, the right to public relief and assistance, the right to freedom of religion, the right to access the courts, the right to freedom of movement within the territory, the right to be issued identity and travel documents. Some basic rights, including the right to be protected from refoulement, apply to all refugees. A refugee becomes entitled to other rights the longer they remain in the host country, which is based on the recognition that the longer they remain as refugees, the more rights they need. So the world is witnessing the highest levels of displacement on record. An unprecedented 70.8 million people around the world have been forced from home by conflict and persecution at the end of 2018. Among them are nearly 30 million refugees, over half of whom are under the age of 18. There are also millions of stateless people who have been denied a nationality and access to basic rights such as education, healthcare, employment, and freedom of movement. Since its declaration in 2002, the worldwide community has spent the day focused on ways to improve lives of refugees. Most of us know refugees are forced to leave their homes due to war, terror, or other crises, as already discussed. But fleeing their home country is often just a beginning of a difficult journey. Many refugees find themselves living in camps until they are resettled, some of which are dangerous or not well equipped for long-term living. Refugees don't always have a say in the country they are ultimately relocated to, and the bureaucratic process involved in finding their new home can take years. Worldwide refugee crises have been center stage in the news in recent years, so it is important that ever to share support and to celebrate World Refugee Day. And often we see, refugees also share the nation's resources. They share the employment opportunities which locals enjoy, and they also take part in various economic and non-academic activities. So in the way, if country has enough resources, if country has enough employment opportunities, then there is no issue. The country can, or a nation can accommodate as many refugees as possible. But when a country itself is struggling, when there are hunger deaths happening, when there is lack of health infrastructure or medical infrastructure or educational infrastructure that is lacking for their own citizens, you can imagine the burden of refugees always is a great burden on the nation. And not only that, because they are deprived in the very first place, they are unofficial residents of a nation, those who have crossed the borders without any proper documentation or proper valid entry, and they keep occupying illegally in a different nation. That creates a lot of security issues because they are not identified, they are not recognized, and they engage in all sort of activities to make their livelihood. So in this process, they can also take extreme ways where they can also deprive the local citizens or the nationals of their opportunities by taking away their opportunities. Because every country has limited resources. It's not that we should not, accept or invite refugees, but we should be conscious about our limited opportunities and how much we can take. If we take too much excess, now there are a lot of citizens where many people cannot afford their own home. How many of our citizens, for that matter, in any country, there are many citizens who are homeless or who do not own their own homes. They are living in rented, and also they are living in streets or as a paying guest or home. Like that, when refugees come and settle here, they start demanding land, they start demanding electricity, they start demanding water, they start demanding infrastructure, and it goes on and on and on. And finally, they also demand political power. That's how we have seen in many countries. Why people are afraid to take in refugees is this is the problem. Because the needs and wants does not stop anywhere. From the basic needs, from quenching their thirst, like drinking water and for food to eat, their needs and wants and desires, demands go till the political power. So there is no end to their, and later on, a lot of problems come and they form. We have seen there are various case studies where, including, it is not just, with particular religion or particular community. Even we have seen many times, even at the time of Ukraine. Ukraine is a recent example where, the citizens of Ukraine have left to the surrounding countries and they were brutally killed, shot dead at the borders, and borders were closed. Why? They are the neighboring countries, and they belong to same religion, Christianity. And even the same Christian nations killed them at the borders. They deprived them at the borders. It's the same religious people and the same neighbor countries. Why they did not allow? If we think, we will know, like, this is not a just simple problem that we erect some tents and provide some food and water. That doesn't end there. Because even in India, we have seen a lot of people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and various surroundings countries. They entered into India and settled here, and they are fighting for their rights now. Now, how they got their rights in the very first place? First of all, they entered our nation illegally, and now they are fighting for everything. They are fighting for their share. Already, our nation is facing a lot of issues. They are not able to feed each and every citizen of India. They are not able to give own house to each and every citizen of India. And not only India, in any nation, but for that matter, they are not able to provide to every citizen free ration. And, it's a huge burden on the economy. And it's not so easy. There are various activists also, without taking all these concerns, they always have their own hidden agendas. But the problem is not, keeping them in shelters. Once they they start demanding that you are not properly maintaining shelters, you are not giving food 3 times. See, the problem is, once you cannot feed them, the rehabilitation center is not a 5-star hotel. We need to understand there are services which are basic services which are provided them, because every nation is struggling a lot to feed, to cater its citizens. And there we can't expect, that the host country, they have provided basic amenities, like you have at least 1 time food to eat, or at least 3 times a minimum food that can survive, a minimum water. They cannot provide you mineral water or what, bottled water like Bisleri or, Coke or something like, it is not possible, because already there are a lot of citizens dying with hunger in their own country. And there are a lot of citizens who do not have adequate drinking water. And how governments can provide, or to one who are refugees? No, we need to think in a different way. Of course, we are not saying that we should not provide any services. But again, the problem comes from the 2 ways, basically. No, it's not always from the host country, and it's not always the refugees. But first of all, the problem was created by the refugees only, because they entered some other place which is not belonging to them. So they created an issue. Now, who is going to take care of them? Who is going to provide resources for them? Who is going to provide livelihood for them, food for them, water for them? Now you came with us with lot of problems, and you are creating a new problems, and you are the one, you need to understand that, it takes time, where the country is struggling with its own citizens and its own limited resources. Is very difficult to provide additional. How it will provide? By depriving its own citizens the opportunities and the food it has to share. So these are the various aspects. So that's why countries do not accept refugees on a large scale, at least, because that's why we have seen when classic Ukraine war has happened, because of this Ukraine-Russia war happened because of US, because of these NATO forces US wanted Ukraine to be part of NATO, a part of US, not as part of USSR, that is Russia. So the entire problem started there. And now, because of that, what happened? Now, even the neighboring countries, even the US group also did not accept refugees, because they know this is going to create a very big problem, not only now, but in future. So this is what happens. Even the same religion, whichever religion they belong to, like most of them belong to Christians, and even the same Christian countries did not accept them. They killed them. And they did not allow them. They stopped them. They have tortured them at the borders so that they run away to some other nations. So why these all things are there? That we need to understand this refugee concept in a very holistic way. But definitely, whatever assistance a country, a nation can give, every nation should come forward, because they are also human beings. But at the end of the day, we all have priorities. Governments also have priorities. Only basic amenities can be provided, that too subject to available. But this is where, the United Nations come into place, because they can provide resources. At least some resources like funding, where especially when there is a refugee camp, we need a lot of funds to feed them, to provide medical facilities. We need doctors, we need sanitation workers, we need psychologists, we need counselors, we need social workers, because their needs are not just physical needs. They have a lot of trauma, they have a lot of psychological issues because they have been displaced. They left everything and came. So you don't think that just providing food and water, they will be happy. They will never be happy because they are always, uh, thinking of their past and what they left. The grief process is on and on. So they also reflect or react similar responses to the host country. So they show that anger, aggression on the host country. Again, that is also creating a lot of issue because they are trying to help you and you are again, trying to harm them or hurt them. Again, it will aggravate the problem. So these all things are there. So these need to be studied in a very holistic manner. And refugees, as already said, because they do not belong and, there are various other priorities. So it's more important to share support and to celebrate World Refugee Day. See, whenever we commemorate any day, it's not always the positive aspect. Of course, it is meant to appreciate the positiveness, but at the same time, we need to understand the intricacies, the complexities of the issue. So the World Day of Migrants and Refugees is established by Pope Pius X and is celebrated in January in 1914. And the United Nations General Assembly decides to observe World Refugee Day from June 2001 since December 4, 2000. And the 50th anniversary of the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees is observed, and 50th anniversary in 2001. The theme in the pandemic, the theme for the World Refugee Day 2020 is Every Action Counts. So reach out to refugees in your area. Consider inviting them into your home for breakfast or lunch or dinner, or spend a few nights in your guest room. If they are in need of somewhere to stay, let them alone and introduce them to your local community so that they will have an easier time getting know their new neighborhood. Simply being a friend can make a major positive impact in someone's life and serving as a guide to the community and can be incredibly helpful. But make sure you take all the precautions. You inform the authorities about their presence and make considerable efforts. If something goes wrong tomorrow, then you should not get into trouble. And no matter what you do for a living, there's always a good chance that your professional skills can be used to improve the lives of others. So volunteer your work-related talents to local refugee organizations. Last year, the UN shared a goal that someday soon, every refugee would have the opportunity for an education, a safe place to live, and ways to work and contribute to their communities. Chances are you got a skill or talent that can help in working toward one of these goals. If you own a business or are a hiring manager, you may also consider employing local refugees who are in need of work if you have excess opportunities. So the vastness of the world refugee crisis can be hard to grasp, but raising awareness can help it make easier for the others to understand the extent of the refugees around the world are going through it. It also builds a sense of empathy and compassion that people brings together from all walks of life. And that's always a positive thing. In a more peaceful world, fewer people would be forced to flee their homes due to violence and unrest. And naturally, this would make for a significant decrease in suffering around the world. While working towards greater peace isn't something that can happen overnight, it's an important goal, and the World Refugee Day reminds us of how vital it is. It's easy to feel helpless in the face of such massive worldwide crisis, but taking small steps can help make a difference. So World Refugee Day encourages all of us to think creatively about what we can do to help. It also motivates everyone celebrating the holiday to be better neighbors to the refugees living in their communities and to be more compassionate and world citizens in general. And this entire week is also commemorated as Refugee Week in UK and is a day to honor refugees and appreciate their contributions, creativity and resilience of refugees and people seeking sanctuary. And Refugee Week is a special UK-wide commemoration that contributions, creativity and resilience of refugees and people seeking sanctuary, which was founded in 1998 to celebrate the contribution of refugees to the UK and to encourage better understanding between communities. And it is a platform that holds hundreds of arts, cultural, educational events alongside media and creative campaigns. It also tries to shed light on challenges the refugees face when seeking safety in different countries, regardless of color, class, gender, sexuality, age, or immigration status. Refugees and asylum seekers from a diverse community with unique experiences. However, Refugees Week objectives has remained unchanged since its inception. Refugees and asylum workers must be able to live safely within inclusive and resilient communities where they can continue to cooperate and contribute. Let us all join together this Refugee Week and Refugee Day to show our support for those who have lost their homes and lives and welcome them all with open arms. Today is also commemorated as International Nystagmus Day. So the issue of nystagmus, which affects millions of people worldwide, has no known permanent cure. We are seeing that many, though our science has gone to space, but still we are struggling with no medicine, no cure for malaria or many other diseases. Many we see there is no treatment, there is no cure for many such things. So that is a limitation of science. We cannot talk everything in terms of science and say science is the end, because science itself is in infancy and there is a lot more. And we have already ignored and discarded our ancient science system. So we are left with a lot of disabilities and diseases because the modern science doesn't have a solution. And the ancient science, which has solutions, we are not regarding them. We are not valuing them. That's where we are suffering and we are paying for that today and in coming days to come. But however, with early diagnosis, some useful interventions can be applied to control it in the early stages. Therefore, it is important to use this day as an opportunity to spread awareness about the condition, especially among the parents. So International Nystagmus Day is an initiative of UK-based Nystagmus Network, which operates as a charity. The organization mainly funds research on nystagmus, and commemoration of an international day helps to bring the world's attention to this condition. The main purpose of holding this day is to conduct various talks and seminars to increase people, professionals, and doctors' awareness so that they can identify nystagmus in the early stages. Several other events are also held to raise funds for various research activities and support programs for children and other people affected by this condition. The first experience was highly successful, which motivated the Nystagmus network to make it a regular feature on their annual calendar and follow it up with more educational material, newsletters, and videos. The Nystagmus network is set up as a charity in the United Kingdom in 1984, and surgical treatment of nystagmus included fixation and tenotomy. Tenotomy begins around the world in 2002. Doctors discovered a technique of using a magnetic implants to correct nystagmus in 2017. On June 2020, the Nystagmus Network commemorates the first ever International Nystagmus Day. So there have been cases where medication has brought some relief to people with nystagmus. However, surgery is the most common mode of treatment in nystagmus. And yes, in severe nystagmus cases, people can have trouble reading due to inability of the eye to focus. And if you notice a child constantly tilting their head while reading, it might be a sign of nystagmus. Get them checked by a doctor as soon as possible. You can also organize a fundraiser by setting up an event at your school or workplace or in your community. There are many ideas that you can experiment with, which having a sale or a concert or even a small scale sporting event or whichever is applicable, even a webinar, seminar, something like that, where you can donate the proceeds to your local eye clinic or research institute to show your commitment to the treatment of nystagmus. You can also collaborate with peers and with other community organizations to share their resources for your fundraising event. And if there exists an advocacy group in your community that works for the well-being of the people with nystagmus, if not, you can set up your own, reaching out to families of people with nystagmus, and even by talking to eye specialists in your area who are familiar with these issues and challenges that people with nystagmus have to face daily. In which way you can contribute to raising awareness about the nystagmus in your community. So often people with nystagmus with their families find themselves completely lost and helpless because they don't have anyone to share their problems. You can help to solve the problem by creating a peer support network composed of people with nystagmus and their carriers. This can be online forum, or you could organize monthly meetups at a community center or at one of the members' homes. Compared with eye disorders acquired later in life, congenital eye disorders are relatively easier to treat. Some patients acquire eye disorders due to side effects of some strong medications and drugs. So be careful when you are taking medications and always check for the reactions and side effects. Some eye disorders are more prevalent among certain ethnicities than others. Eye color has nothing to do with the frequency of disorders, but there is a high prevalence among ethnicities. In some cases, eye and vision disorders could be a sign of more serious neurological disorder. Nystagmus may even be caused by extreme and prolonged periods of sleep deficiency. So it is a good opportunity to develop social responsibility and become an active member of the community. By working with different community organizations and professionals, you will learn how to engage with society for an important cause and contribute towards solving common yet important societal issues. Many people continue to live with different types of medical conditions simply because there are not enough funds to explore a treatment or to understand what causes the condition. So nystagmus is one of them. By taking part in the different fundraising activities or International Nystagmus Day can play a valuable role in generating funds through which scientists can find a lasting cure and treatment for nystagmus in people of all ages. So living with a condition can be challenging for any individual. for an individual as well as other family who has to take care of them. Therefore, on days like International Nystagmus Day, you can reach out to these families, talk to them about their experiences and the issues they face, and provide them the emotional support they need. In some cases, this can give them renewed hope and encouragement. Today is also commemorated as World Productivity Day. Use this day to pat yourself on your back, celebrate every achievement. And today is also good day to consider why and change things up. Either way, remember to acknowledge every success, even seemingly insignificant roles. Productivity equals efficiency purely in dictionary terms. The word has increasingly become associated with economics or corporate world, resulting in a boxed up understanding of the term. The reality is that people are wildly different, so are the personal views on productivity. To some, it means efficiently juggling work and home. Business leaders might define it as a rally everyone to a shared goal. If you are a creator, ample time for ruminations and debate also counts as productivity. What motivates us each day rarely manifests as spreadsheets, calendars, or plans. These are tools that can help us and achieve what we want. Meaningful productivity goes far beyond. It is about making informed choices, the art of balancing both professional and personal goals. Getting more things done is only part of it. Ultimately, we want to be productive to have enough time for all the things we love. While we are at it, it is essential to know what is not productive, such as being busy all the time. Efficiency is it someone who ticks off numerous tasks on an overscheduled calendar. Being busy and productive aren't the same things at all. 24 hours sometimes seems too short. Productivity means making the most of your time, not creating endless tasks or filling in calendars with things to do, but rather creating an impactful habits of fulfillment and success. So it's not about, taking more work, again, more and more work and burdening yourself so that you don't have time for yourself and you end up working 24 hours a day. That is not productivity. So start by defining what productivity means to you. So you want more money, or perhaps more vacation time, or perhaps more family time, or perhaps more study time, or perhaps more, social time. So define what productivity means to you, because productivity means different meaning to different people, and what's driving it, whether it's adventure or you caring for your family, connecting it to a passion can flip perspectives and how you approach each day. On World Productivity Day, let's ask ourselves these questions. And today is about inspiring everyone to be better versions of themselves, because happiness also varies from person to person, and the definition of happiness also varies from person to person. Say, for a person like me, who has left all the worldly pressures and who doesn't bother about worldly materials or worldly matters. So for me, happiness is different. For me, happiness is serving people. For me, happiness is spending time in prayer or meditation, or in doing mantra recitation, or reaching out people in help without any expectation. So for me, the happiness has a different connotation or a different definition, different context, or a different understanding. And maybe if you ask someone else, what is your happiness? then they might say there is a very less probability that one in 100 persons, or uh, maybe 2 or 3 in 100 persons will have same answer as me. But most of them will have some different answers, like what productivity means to them, what happiness means to them. Might be they want to have own home, or they want to have a duplex bungalow, or they want to have some branded car or branded vehicle, or they want some award, or they want some reward, or you know or they want to eat something, they want to have something, they want to possess something, they want to procure something. So that's why it's more of subjective rather than objective. Because everyone has different kinds of interests, likes and dislikes and priorities, so that these are things also differ. So the world's first mechanical works are born in Europe in the West, the invention of timekeeping in 1300s, and Henry Ford installs a moving assembly line for the mass production of automobiles in 1930. The Ernest Hemingway writes at crack of dawn and continues, "You can do no more." In 1889 to 1961, the creative productivity, and Abraham Maslow finds a hierarchy of needs as part of his theories on human motivation. The psychological theories for productivity in 1943. So now you may ask, what is daily productivity? Productivity, again, as we already discussed, it means a different meaning to different people. Productivity means accomplishing tasks at a steady pace each day. So contrary to perception, it doesn't mean completing the multiple tasks at breakneck speed. So then you may also ask, what is a productive day? Then while definitions of this are personal, again, the best days often involve feeling good about ourselves. An ideal day could mean a work achievement or crushing personal goals, or it could also mean realizing just how much you are as a good person. And if you are feeling stuck on schoolwork or college work, or at your workplace, ask for help. It's a good idea to prioritize tasks, plan them, and check them off one by one. Remember to reduce screen time and get enough sleep. So the most productive people never skip a workout. So the big promotion of project isn't much use if your body is giving up on it. So exercise keeps us energized and focused. Choose an activity that you can enjoy and just get started. And chronic procrastinations, put off difficult things, tasks till the last minute, which means the nights of working weekends. So start by completing what you dread most. The rest of the day or week only gets better from there. See, I can give the same example from the platform. See, when we float the registration form, people don't bother to complete it properly, and they want to skip all the formalities as much as they can, so that they can try to minimize their work. But what happens? Everything is automatic, and and if something goes wrong, something is missing, the data system will not do its work, because the input is missing. Even if input is there, it is in not proper format, or it is not having an valid value, it will not accept. So now, after till that time, it's like, take it easy. You can easily work around. But what will happen when at the end of the day, when the certificate time comes, then they'll keep struggling. Again, they keep sending, repeatedly. They try to do it that time. See, instead of that doing it that moment, burdening the system, overloading the system, In the very first place itself, when there is an event, you can always register and complete the task then itself. Why waiting till last moment? No, it's always respecting each other, because we have put in a system and we both have to respect that system. We need to follow the instruction so that, we will have better productivity. Here, the problem is, uh, every person has a work assigned. See, as a presenter or as a participant, you have certain work, certain obligation to complete the form. And as an organizer, we have certain responsibilities and accountability. So only when we get all the details in the specified format, we will be also able to help you. But what will happen if you want to save your time, then you are wasting a lot, even a double time of others. That is what we do not understand. That's where we keep struggling. Because other people, that's where the basic difference. As I said, for me, these all doesn't matter. But for other platforms, they need more participants. They want to say that, 1,000 participants attended or 10,000 participants attended, or we gave off 500 certificates or 1,000 certificates. Like it's all, name game and fame game. So they don't bother if you don't attend also. They will give certificate and you can easily get away with certificate. And the purpose is different there. There the entire, purpose is different. So they do not keep everything. They just want some people, they at the end, that is over. Because that is where we end up in corruption also. We don't follow system. And not everywhere we are looking for opportunities where we can bypass the system, where we can get around without following the system or without completing the formalities. This attitude is what breaks the nation. Instead of making the nation, everywhere we'll go to income tax also same thing. We go to shop also same thing. We go on the road also, we try to violate, we try to jump signals, or we do not get our vehicle pollution certificate, or we do not maintain vehicle proper condition, or see everything. See, mostly we also see when we are counseling some repeated violators, they see it's not that they don't want to do, but they got it as a practice. Now they have made it a habit. So they are not able to get rid of that habit. That is a problem. Like that, now we are used to violate system. We are used to, bypass. So we always look easy ways, quick ways to, get around instead of following the rules and regulations, instead of following the instructions. What we do, we think that we are increasing productivity, but it is not increasing productivity, but it's creating more work. Because somewhere we have to complete the work. Someone has to do, if not you, if not me, someone has to do that. So we are increasing the burden on that person and we are not doing it. So it is always pending. When something goes wrong, then we will regret. Array, we shouldn't have done that, or we could have completed that. Again, at that time, when you ask for something or when you try to complete, then it is not always you. Often the problem comes, that when we do not complete the work, we assume that when we want, the other person is free, but it's not always so. Most of the times, not so. We see many times, we don't do our work when we have to do. Again, when we need something, we keep going there and struggling, keeping rounds and rounds and rounds, and requesting them, demanding them, fighting with them. But these all could have been avoided if you could have done, whenever it was an offer was provided or an opportunity was provided. But that is where, people struggle. They think this as a productivity, but this is not what productivity is. Productivity should be for everyone. It's not that you skip away and someone else is doing your work. And they also have 24 days. They also, like you want to skip, they also want to skip. Like you are also looking for excuses. They will also look for excuses. And they will also not do your work because you have not completed formalities. Why we have to give you? They will also keep an excuse that anyway you have not completed. We are also not under obligation. Only when you complete, we will see. And anyway, again, it is before deadline, you have to complete. And deadline is already gone long back. You have to apply before your license gets renewed. You did not do it. Again, you have to apply for renewal. There is no renewal. You have to apply for a fresh passport or a fresh license, because even the renewal period also expired. Now what we have to take pain of again applying a new altogether a fresh application and go to the entire process. This is what most of the problems are due to our attitude. So because we think that okay, it's okay, fine, not to follow, we'll get it. But only when we realize that yes, without complete of just any nation, almost everywhere. In some countries, it is very strict, particular, because they are small, they have very, very limited resources. So that's why they are very strict, because, if they leave system like this here, and they will go bankrupt in no days. So that's why they are very strict in particular countries. But in some countries, yes, it is, a lot of lenience is there. Whoever has, popularity, whoever has network, or whoever has lot of funds, resources, they easily get up. But again, you need to send something else, even to engage in corruption also. You need to bribe, or you need to give something. Like you are not investing your time, but you are investing your other resources instead of time. So somewhere, either it may be monetary resources or non-monetary resources, but still you are spending your resources. That is the kind of holistic understanding we are lacking. That's why this productivity, especially the productivity comes down, not only for you, for the entire system also, because the system is also being affected, and the other persons working in the system are also burdened with the problem because of created by you and people like you. So the entire system suffers. So that's what we have to think whenever we do something. Let's do it properly so that our productivity also increases, the system productivity increases, and overall the nation productivity also increases. That's why these chronic procrastinators put off difficult tasks till the last minute, which means late nights or working weekends, and or working in last minute, last hours. So starting by completing what you dread most, the rest of the day or week only gets better from there. So only when we take out some time, we think that it is also part of it and this is also priority, then we will overcome it. And our productivity also improves because there is no work pending. And today is a good day to discover who or what inspires you. And nowadays, there is a great concept, in fact, multitasking. Everyone keeps saying, I'm multitasking. But initially, people were doing very good at multitasking because they were not really doing that kind of multitasking. But over a period of time, that multitasking has lowered their performance, lowered their productivity. In fact, nowadays we have seen, because that was a new concept earlier, and people, was everyone more into it. But over the period, there was no research, no studies. But later on, when there was more research, they are overburdening themselves. The problem of multitasking is they are overburdening and they are overstraining themselves and they are exploiting their resources. Resources can be even their own energy levels and their own devices also. See, the device also gets heated up, right? If you are using mobile continuously, what happens? Our screen time is also increasing. Our eyes also get strained. Our sleep is deprived. And we are sitting for hours together. So low metabolic activity and we will become potato couch. And moreover, device is running 24 hours or 18 hours a day. And again, to power that, again, electricity 24 hours a day or 22 hours a day, whatever it is. Again, you can't sit without a air conditioner or a fan or a cooler. Again, that is also running 24 hours a day. So more energy is consumed, more time is invested, more resources are invested. See how they are interlinked with each other. Because maybe we are not paying, someone else is paying, we might not recognize. But if you have to pay for each and everything, then you will recognize how much valuable it is and how resources are being wasted. And not only you, for also others also, because of you or because of them, your resources are getting wasted, your productivity level is coming down, or because of you, their productivity level or their resources are wasted. So that is why, multitasking, shifting focus is very important. And, continuing, especially focusing on tasks is very important. So multitasking is slowing us down. Shifting focus hinders our inner autopilot, meaning learned behaviors that enable us to complete tasks. Sometimes it's like, master of none, jack of all. We do everything, but we are not masters in anything. So that never works out. You should be master in at least one thing. Then you can be jack of all, no problem. At least you are expert in one thing. But you are expert in none, jack of all, again, you cannot do anything. You'll be always, littering around. So studies also show that multitasking may lower performance since people are more likely to make more mistakes due to lack of focus or attention on all the tasks or any one of the tasks. So multitasking, again, over a period of time, what we found is those who are engaging in multitasking, they are facing problem. They are doing more mistakes. They are committing more mistakes. That's why, when you are overburdened and you are doing multiple tasks and you are working for longer hours, you tend to make more mistakes. So again, that mistakes, to correct their mistakes, again, time and resources are needed. Again, they are wasted, underutilized or overutilized. So that's how, again, productivity comes down. And it also impairs brain function. Switching between tasks can affect the brain's cognitive process, especially in times of crisis. Your brain also gets heated up. You consume a lot of oxygen. So you will run out of adequate oxygen again. So your blood pressure keeps gushing up and rushing up. And because of that, again, you need to drink a lot of water. Again, you don't drink it. Again, so a lot of issues, ifs and buts will happen. And so the entire patient, the cognitive process happens in the brain. And the brain also gets affected. And it also impairs brain function. So, and we are not good at it. So we are, basically designed or manufactured to do one task at a time. At least that shifting time is there, minimum focus time we have. Now, beyond that, we cannot do multitasking. We do multitasking, but that attention, that focus of attention or the attention span of focus or attention is very limited. That is our limitation. Beyond that, if we do, there are greater possibility of committing more mistakes or even at times blunders. So switching between tasks can affect the brain's cognitive process, especially in times of crisis, especially when you are under pressure, when you are under stress or anxiety. There is a greater possibility of, getting disease or disorders or feeling more stressed or anxious. And what seems like excellent productivity on the surface is nothing but our brain switching rapidly between two tasks. Of course, what we enjoy is like feeling that, oh, I am able to complete 2-3 works at the same time, but you are burdening your brain with that, and brain has to do a lot of work switching between here and there and there and here. And it's all about, as I mentioned, attention spans. And that also gets decreased by multitasking. So multitaskers can have trouble focusing even when they are not in work mode. So by engaging more into multitasking, you will get adapted to it. And even if there is no multitasking happening also, you can't focus. Your mind will be wandering. That is the greatest, thing today we are struggling because of lack of attention, lack of focus, because our mind, our thoughts are wandering always. We are not able to focus on studies. We are not able to focus on work, or we are not able to focus on projects, because now we always keep thinking, oh, what do we have to do this day or that time, and what we have to eat, what we have to, when we have to sleep, or when we have to go home or office. All these already we have a lot of multitasking happening in brain. No addition to this, we are adding this. And because of that, we lose our attention span decreases. So that our memory, cognitive deficits also increase. We are not able to remember them correctly, precisely, and because of that, more errors. Sometimes we see, suddenly we keep keys somewhere or something somewhere, and suddenly after some time, we realize that we lost it somewhere. We forgot it where we have kept it, because we were doing multitasking and we were not focusing on that work at that point of time. So we are all talking in terms of span of attention or attention span. Multitasking means always depends on this attention span, because minimum span of attention or minimum time is required to focus on any act so that that act can be remembered. But now, we are jumping like a monkey on a tree, from this tree to that tree without anything, just randomly. So that's why what is that focus, the shifting of focus from one to other, we'll forget, we'll keep things somewhere and we forget them. And we don't, it is sometimes very hard to recollect where you have kept the things. Especially it happens with the keys. At least mobile, at least if we call, that we will ring and we can trace it out. That's a different thing. But especially with the keys or some important documents, we keep it somewhere and we forget. So multitaskers can have trouble focusing even when they are not at work or doing multitasking. And so it's finally the time for celebrating achievements. We often fixate on things that need doing instead of all the things we have achieved. So today is a perfect for a long overdue personal pat on your back. And it also helps to examine what we are doing or where we want to go. Whether you are raring to make a new goals or rethinking old ones, today is the best day. And small changes each day can deliver incredible results. All of us know this, but how many of us stay through it? Today we can start over. So just take this again, this own platform only. If you start, filling up daily registration form, then automatically it becomes habit. You do it for 20 days, 40 days, that's all. You will make a habit, and even if there is no event also on that day, that rarely happens, but still you will come and register and you will finish. You don't even feel like you are doing some work or you are burdened with registration form. That will become an automatic process for you, and you will feel enjoyed also. Otherwise, if you don't do, only if you think, "Arey, I have missed out something is there that I have missed it." But otherwise, if you do it, you will feel happy. Oh, at least now I have completed today's. So that is how, if we prioritize and make it a task, make it a routine. That's why if we make that part of our process, part of our routine, then we will not feel burdened, we will not feel stressed. As a normal activity, we'll do that regularly without any fail and without any mistake. That is what the mindset, the attitude we need to develop. So finally, reduce multitasking to improve productivity. Or even if you are doing multitasking, be conscious. And today is also commemorated as this entire week as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week in US. This is because mosquitoes are the cause of many diseases and can kill if precautions aren't taken. For instance, a disease such as dengue still exists in many developing nations because appropriate measures are yet to be taken by the government. Now that summer is subsiding and coming days are rainy seasons and winter seasons, again the mosquito problem will rise. There will be a lot of viral fevers and this malaria, filaria, and dysenteries, and all sorts of diseases and disorders. The seasonal disorders will start once it starts raining. And in the raining season, summer season, you have to be very careful. So dengue, like a disease such as dengue still exists in many developing nations. And so learn all about mosquitoes by observing National Mosquito Control Awareness Week this year. And make sure you get the kids around you involved too. So let's join hands and ensure the world is protected from these tiny blood-sucking insects for years to come. Of course, they have their own right to survive on the planet. But at least we can keep ourselves away from them. And mosquitoes may seem small and irrelevant, but they have caused the deaths of thousands in the past few decades. It's important to understand their habitat, the diseases they bring, and how humans can protect themselves. Though mosquitoes are found everywhere, now, did you know that they didn't always exist anywhere outside Africa? At least this is what scientists believe. From South Africa, mosquitoes spread to the rest of the world and are evolved according to the climate of each region. Initially, mosquitoes were there only in South Africa. Later on, they also migrated. They also became refugees and permanent residents of entire planets. So at least this is what scientists believe. So the oldest mosquito fossil, according to the University of Alaska, is believed to be from 79 million years ago. And there are currently about 3,000 known species of mosquitoes. Out of these, only 176 species are found in United States. So at least 84 of these are found in Texas alone. And scientists have also revealed that the ancient mosquitoes were about 3 times as large as today's mosquitoes. And that name too evolved over time. For instance, the Spanish called the mosquitoes as mosquitas, and native Hispanic Americans called them zancudos. For merely blood-sucking insects, mosquitoes became feared over the years, owing to the many painful diseases caused by their bites. In fact, they can also transmit several diseases and parasites to dogs and horses, including dog heartworms, Eastern equine encephalitis, and nest wild virus. So the diseases they can infect humans, which include malaria, dengue virus, Zika, and West Nile virus, etc. Seeing the spread of disease, many measures were taken to eliminate the mosquitoes in national. So a national organization of mosquito control workers under the name National Mosquito Extermination Society was also formed in the US. So the outbreak, a yellow fever outbreak occurs in the New Orleans and Pensacola in 1905 in the West. New Jersey becomes the first state to authorize mosquito abatement districts and making new rules in 1912. About 2 lakh cases of dengue fever arise along the Gulf Coast from Texas to Florida, and fever outbreak spreads in 1922. So the newsletter is renamed the Journal of Mosquito Systematics. Newsletter is renamed as Mosquito Systematics in 1972. Mosquitoes can be controlled through methods such as prevention, source reduction, larviciding, and adulticiding. Since mosquitoes are most active at dusk and dawn, this is the best time to spray. Spraying is safe and does not harm humans. So the best way to celebrate ensure mosquitoes in your area are eliminated by using insect killing sprays. Try to avoid chemicals and use organic or herbal. And it is also essential to protect children from being bitten by mosquitoes and catching diseases such as malaria. Educate them. This is a perfect week to sit the children down and explain why mosquitoes. Repellents when they step out of hose. Prevention is better than cure. There are numerous diseases caused by mosquitoes and we are barely aware of them. Even half of them. Start researching and finding out all the diseases you must protect yourself from. So mosquitoes, as already mentioned, out of 3,000 species of mosquitoes, only a few hundred feed on human blood. So different mosquito species have different habits. Not every mosquito feeds on human blood. And only female mosquitoes bite since blood helps their eggs develop. So male mosquitoes do not bite. So whenever the next time a mosquito bites, then that is a female mosquito. And mosquitoes prefer horses, cattle, and birds over humans. So humans are not the first blood preference for mosquitoes. Oh, humans are the last option for mosquitoes. They don't like humans. They prefer horses, cattle, and birds over humans. And mosquitoes can lay up to 300 eggs at a time. That's an impressive egg laying ability. And the average mosquito lives for less than 2 months. So this week is important to spread awareness about the numerous diseases that can be caused by mosquitoes, and this day also helps in highlighting why encounters and mosquitoes should be avoided at all costs. Apart from creating awareness about the diseases created by mosquitoes, the week also discuss ways in which people can protect themselves from mosquito bites. This includes using an insect killing sprays, etc. So today is also commemorated as National American Eagle Day to raise awareness about the bald eagle and to preserve the bird's natural habitat. It is meant to educate others about the bird's importance and to explore ways we can ensure that the eagles continue to thrive for decades to come. In 1950s, the bald eagle was at serious risk of becoming extinct. Loss of their natural habitats, hunting, and use of pesticides that damaged their eggs may cause the pollution and the population to massively decline. So the bird was classified as endangered in the US in 1967, and the bird went on to become a prime success story of Endangered Species Act. The bald eagle began to repopulate and thrive, and in 1995, it was moved from National Endangered Species List to the National List of Threatened Species, a major improvement as of 2007. And the bald eagle is no longer considered threatened and has a healthy population level. So it was launched, this National American Eagle Day was launched by the American Eagle Foundation, a tennis organization focused on protecting bald eagles. So Eagle Day was launched by American Eagle Association, a tennis organization focused on protecting bald eagles and their fellow birds of prey. Bald eagles live to light near large bodies of water as they mostly eat fish and also known for their beauty and grace when they soar through their air. So they have been also known as treasured symbols of the United States since 1700. Today is also commemorated as National Cellular Light Therapy Day in US. This day is intended to highlight and create awareness about the benefits of light therapy. It is a non-toxic and non-intrusive alternative to prescription medicines and invasive surgery. People who have never heard of light treatment and those looking for an alternative to medication or surgery should have to look at more info. Celluma has been used for years by US military veterans as an alternative to prescribed drugs. Celluma light therapy conceptualized this commemoration and celebration. People from all over the world now can make use of powerful healing light energy of Celluma light therapy. Celluma was founded on the principle that everyone should have access to the myriad health benefits provided by the low-level light therapy, which have been discovered through scientific research. This principle served as a primary motivating factor for the development of Celluma brand. Celluma is a well-known and respected brand that is produced in the state of California, where the company has its headquarters. After that, it has shipped to many countries across the world. The FDA has given its approval for the use of a series of wellness devices that make up Celluma light therapy. These devices can be used to treat a range of health and wellness issues, including acne, hair restoration, and fine lines and wrinkles. Celluma devices have also received FDA approval for the treatment of musculoskeletal diseases such as arthritic pain, muscle discomfort, and joint pain, as well as for the enhancement of microcirculation. Pain can be experienced in their muscles, joints, and or ligaments when one has one of these illnesses. So to treat lupus vulgaris, a type of tuberculosis, Dr. Niels Ryberg Finsen develops the first light therapy treatment in 1896. Dr. Finsen receives the Nobel Prize in Physiology for his light therapy treatments in 1903. So when used in the way they were designed to be used, LED devices are proven to have minimal risk. So the low-level light therapy comes without any potential dangerous side effects. When administered as a directed light treatment, does not include any risk of injury and is painless. Low-level light treatment is based on NASA's manned space flight studies and light-emitting diodes, as opposed to the leaders, which generate a considerable amount of heat. Proprietary LED technology produces low levels of heat that is not regarded as safe. So light therapy reduces inflammation, is an effective acne treatment. It reduces the appearance of wrinkles, can minimize pain and felt in the muscle joints. So it reduces inflammation. It is an effective acne treatment. It reduces appearance of wrinkles It can minimize pain left in the muscles and joints, and it can also reduce pain caused by arthritis. Today is also commemorated as National Hike with the Jeep Day in US. And is to promote healthy activity in people who otherwise work in sedentary jobs throughout the years, such as IT professionals, accountants, and so on. Even going on a hiking trip once a year can encourage people to make physical activity and exercise as part of their daily routine. So the first national hike with the Jeek Day was commemorated as a result of the efforts of Mendel Gerland and his organization Hiking with Jeeks, which he founded in 2016. Today, Hiking with Jeeks has been rebranded to Greek Adventures and is mainly offers new ways to provide adventures as a means of digital detoxification. So the best philosophy celebrating this day is that people who work in solitary roles, spending long hours working on a computer rather than interacting with people, need some kind of opportunity or need. The basic philosophy behind creating this day is that people who work in solitary roles, spending long hours working on a computer rather than interacting with people, need some kind of opportunity to meet other people and connect with them emotionally and psychologically. Hence, the need for making a special day when Jeeks could spend time outdoors with others of the same tribe. The day is widely celebrated across the United Countries. Today is also commemorated as Ugliest Dog Day in US. So no matter how they look, the antics of furry animals will always be undeniably cute. There are some really unphotogenic pets out there, but they, as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So this is why World's Ugliest Dog Day is celebrated. So we love dogs every day, but dogs with facial deformities or less attractive features are in spotlight today. And the World's Ugliest Day contest is also an annual contest held at Petaluma, California, as part of Sonoma Marine Fair to decide which of the dogs entered in the contest is ugliest. The winner receives a trophy and the title of the world's ugliest dog, and the dog's owner themselves receive $1,000 in prize money. Since 2017, the prize money has increased to $1,600 along with a free trip to New York City. So today, when coming to this food section, today we are commemorating National Vanilla Milkshake Day. It's all about celebrating vanilla milkshake. It's made by blending milk, ice cream, and vanilla flavoring for a classical style beverage. Vanilla is actually native to the central Mexico and is the only fruit-bearing member of the orchid family. So the first people uh, that use the fruit to the toxic Pilil Sotil wine were the ancient Totonac Indians of Mexico, but the Aztecs defeated them and they no longer had sole ownership of the fruit. In the beginning, milkshake was considered as an adult drink. The beverage has first appeared in the print 1885 and contains eggs and whiskey. It was described as a sturdy and healthy eggnog drink that was served as a tonic and a drink. For as harmless as they seem now, the original milkshake wasn't so kid friendly. All of the fun flavorings wouldn't come until later. In the early 1900s, different flavors of ice cream were used in milkshakes. Vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry syrups were the first ones, and they were an immediate hit. At that time, the level electric blender hadn't been intervened yet, and the milkshakes were taken by hand. The the drink mixer wasn't created until 1911, and when it was, milkshakes started. Today, the milkshake is still going strong, while local soda malt shop have become a vintage novelty. People can still order the classic treat as many restaurants and ice cream parlors, while many flavors have been created since the early days of the milkshake. The vanilla milkshake still holds strong as classic reminder of the days past. Today is also a similar commemoration in US National Ice Cream Soda Day. And today, these Americans enjoy their favorite dessert by trying out various flavors and making it in a different style. So, so with more than a century of history, there is so much to learn about ice cream sodas, right from so today is also commemorated as National Koigin Aman Day, made with a simple recipe of flour, butter, and sugar. Kogan Aman is made in different varieties of flavors since it originates in the region of Brittany. The Kongan Aman combines the simplicity of freshwater foods with elegance of freshwater taste. Finally, today is Puri Jagannath Rath Yatra, the most pomp and glory of procession of the Lord and deities. So it is the second day of 2-week long Ashada month, and it takes place on June 20. So the first So this Rath Yatra, the festival, falls between June and July. This year it is June 20. Millions of devotees from all over India congregate in the pilgrim city of Puri, Odisha, to participate in the chariot journey of Lord Jagannath Rath. Yatra is one of the most important. The preparation for the festival begins at least 1 month before. The wood of the neem tree is used to build 3 massive chariots that carry the idols. As many as 1,400 workers trained in ancient carpentry build the chariot from scratch. The 3 chariots are built without any measuring tape, nails, or glue. So the 3 chariots are built without any measuring tape, nails, or glue. Only wooden pegs and old school joints are used. Lord Jagannath chariot is about 44 feet tall and with wheels outside in red and yellow color, whereas the other 2 chariots are 43 and 42 feet tall to signify the ascension of the younger siblings from the bird. The word Jagannath is derived from the letters Jagat and Nath, which describes. So with this, we shall conclude the commemorations for the day. Thank you everyone for attending. Tomorrow, we are having international seminar at the same time. We request everyone, those who have not registered, you can register at the earliest. It's a one-time opportunity to join and participate. So we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form and see you all tomorrow for the international seminar on yoga. Those who would like to present can fill the form and complete the formalities. And if you know any yoga asanas, you can try doing tomorrow. Dear friends, the feedback form has been shared in the chat box. Registration form has been shared in the chat box. Those who have not registered, you can register. And the feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly attend to it. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. So we thank you one and all. See you all tomorrow. The international seminar. Take care. Good night.